Hello gamers, my name is Duma and welcome to the Game Room. Today we got something a little different because why not? It's ESO, there's a million ways to do it, so let's get weird with it. This one honestly surprised me. I did not expect this to work so well, but it absolutely dominated both Veteran Maelstrom Arena and Veteran Vateshran Arena and was genuinely a lot of fun to play. And I think that's because it's just so different than what you would normally play for a DPS role. It's a weird one bar, high mobility, sword and board Nightblade that just mows everything over. It even parses in the 70s and the same solo setup with making just a few tiny changes if you wanted to take it to veteran dungeons as well. A fun weird thing about it, it actually has 0 abilities on the bar that are heals, meaning you press the button and receive a heal. It can all happen passively if you want it to. As long as you're pressing buttons, this is one of those builds that'll take care of it for you. Also, you never have to interrupt anything either. Your main spammable interrupts as one of its secondary functions. This was created on the final week of Update 43 PTS, so this will be good to go for you for the next patch as well. I'm going to be setting this up on live servers for myself as well, just to have it for my own solo odds and ends. I'd enjoyed it that much. I have a bit of gameplay for you at the end so you can see it in action, and I'll also be playing it on my next stream after publishing this video if you wanted to see it live in action as well. The written guide is up and available for you now over at thegameroom.tv. Let's get it. This isn't a Godslayer build and we aren't min-maxing this for the trial dummy. Genuinely, any race in the game will work fine. It's a stamina-based build, so a stamina-oriented race is better, but even if you are a mag race and lose some stats, you'll be fine, I promise. For myself on the PTS, I went for Dark Elf. All 64 points in stamina. This will put you just under 22k health on any races that don't have extra health. This was comfortable for myself for Veteran Vateshran, but if you prefer more health, feel free to back out some points here to put them into health to get a value you're comfortable with. Just remember, don't go crazy with it though. You need to keep as much stamina as you can. We'll be using the Lover Mundus and Artaeum takeaway food with tripods as our potions. We're using 2 medium sets, so it doesn't matter where you put what pieces. Anything can go anywhere. For our first set, we have Tarnished Nightmare. I slept on this hard for PvE for so long now. It's not a big DPS set, but it's great for solo and group dungeon clearing set. How it works is you get a ton of extra crit rating, and roughly every 8 seconds or so, you'll get a huge explosion of physical damage with the Sundered status effect. It's also a very satisfying visual that just nukes mobs. We pair that with the trusty Pillar of Nirn set, which procs bleed damage and bleed damage over time, which is a fantastic set for both solo and group content. If you don't have this set, I have a guide on the channel I will link here for you that shows you how to quickly solo farm the dungeon that it drops in if that's an interest for you. We pair that with Oaken Soul and top it off with a monster helm of your choice with the Line of Penetration. Here is all the gear together, a very simple setup here of all divine traits on armor with max stamina and chance. Robust or infused on the jewelry, both work totally fine. It should come in robust, so you don't need to retrait anything here if you prefer more stam. Then a precise dagger with the flame enchant and a divine shield with the max stamina enchant. CP is there for you as well. Please note the Reaving Blows CP here. It's a very important element to the build, which we'll come back to here in just a moment. The idea behind our blue CP here is that our sets are providing passive AoE, which is more than enough for any trash mobs to just fall over, so we don't need to juice that much at all. Instead, we're boosting our single target damage for our abilities to help take out chunky bosses a bit better. It all works in great synergy for an easy to play and rewarding solo experience. The first thing I want to explain is how healing works for the build. I'll circle back and explain the abilities, but I want to show you just how much defense is packed in behind the scenes of sorts. Every ability on the bar contributes to healing in some way, but none of them actually heal you by simply pressing a button and getting a heal like a traditional heal. Let's go over the big ones. Starting with siphoning attacks. This is mostly a passive ability. I think I actually used it 1 total time and 3 veteran arena runs. How it works is it passively heals you and restores resources every second if you're doing damage. Its on-use ability costs health to get a bit of resources back. So in a pinch, it can be used as a mini potion of sorts at the cost of health, but we almost never use it in that regard. This works in synergy with the Reaving Blow CP, which heals you for 8% of your direct damage done, which is also the bulk of your damage. Just like Weaving Power Slam here, you can see the heals flooding in. So that's what I mean by as long as you're pressing the buttons, the build will keep you afloat. When you're in trouble, don't fall back, go harder. More button pressing equals more damage equals more healing. Also, in the same clip, you'll see some huge bursts of healing coming in. This is from Merciless Resolve. When the proc is used in melee range, it will also heal you for a big chunk of health plus additional healing from reading blows, plus the tick of healing from siphoning. This is basically a full health bar of healing every handful of globals. That happens passively while just doing damage. Next, we have Shield Assault, which is just awesome for solo content. This is a gap closer that does damage, stuns the enemy, and provides you with a moderate shield. Again, you get your reading blows and siphoning heal here. You can also think of this as just a shield in combat, like a sorcerer's hardened ward. It works like a flat out shield when you're in trouble. And its total value is hidden a bit because at its base, it's an 8k shield, but you're also getting your reading blows and siphoning heals from its damage, which is another 2 to 3k or so of value in there. And then you can boost this shield amount by 15% more by adding the Bastion CP node if you want. So it's a gap closer, damage, shield, and mini heal. It's also really awesome for saving time and just zipping around faster from enemy to enemy to travel distances quick. And then when you have your Tarnished Nightmare proc with the charge, you will literally just explode some mobs into dust as you connect to them. It's really satisfying when it happens. Same idea for your spammable. If you're light weaving this, that's 2 sources of healing here from every global. Reaper's Mark is crazy on this setup. Basically, you apply it to an enemy, they get Major Breach, and when they die, you get healed to full. It also gives you Major Berserk for 10 seconds, giving you 10% more damage, which is enormous. So anywhere there's trash mobs or bosses with ads, you can keep a very high Major Berserk uptime by bouncing this around to mobs as they're about to die or ones you're focusing. And then it can be used as an emergency heal of sorts to heal you back to full. You can throw on any smaller ads that are about to die. In cap ult, nothing crazy here in the way of healing, just reaving blows doing its work there. So to summarize all of this, which is 0 actual heals on the bar, meaning you press the button and get a heal instantly, you can just passively heal yourself with intermittent shields as needed, and solo literally anything in the game that's meant to be soloed, including both arenas on veteran difficulty. Brief overview of what's left for skills. We talked about Shield Assault, Siphoning, and Reaper's Mark. That leaves our 2 main single target damage sources, Power Slam and Merciless Resolve. Power Slam is just your spammable. Treat it like any other. It's a shield bash that counts as bash damage and also interrupts casting enemies. Next is Merciless Resolve. This builds stack up to 5 as you light attack. At 5, you get a proc to use for a huge burst of damage and then healing if in melee range. But it can also be used to take out ads from ranged as well. The general flow of combat here is 5 light weaved power slams into resolve proc and repeat. It's that simple. Our ult, known as Incap, is very straightforward. It does a burst of damage and increases your damage done by 20% for a time. On bosses, just use it as it becomes available. For ads and trash packs, try to use it on chunkier ads when you have your resolve proc up. Most everything will just drop in one global there. If you can prep it with Major Berserk from Reaper's Mark on a dying ad, that's 30% additional damage. For example, the big ogres on the poison stage of VMA, I got all crits here along with a chunky Tarnished Nightmare proc and basically globaled one of them in 1 second, which isn't easy to do normally for a lot of setups. This build has extremely high burst in that regard. For dungeons, you can just throw on Slimecrawl Helm, add Trap and Twisting Path to the bars, and swap out Reaving Blows for Exploiter, and you're somewhere in the 70s if you would like to parse with it for a bit on a trial dummy. I didn't do a ton of parsing, I just ran through a couple half health bars on the dummy checking some things, and as you can see here, I'll speed it up for you, it's holding in the 70s for the entire time. This is a perfect little kit for veteran dungeons, and it's got all the tools you would need to do well to clear trash, have solid boss damage, mobility, and survivability. Boom, and that's it, gamers. I'll leave you with a bit of gameplay so you can see it in action. I hope you enjoyed the build if you try it. I definitely did. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.